Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about ivy care, and I have two varieties. I have the Glacier variety, which is a variegated one, if you guys can even see this. There we go. And then I also have a normal English ivy, and these are extremely long. I didn't realize how long they were till right now, because I have them about 9 feet in the air, hanging above my doorway in the sunroom. But obviously for the sake of this video, I brought them down, and I didn't realize how long they actually were until I brought them down. But without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is lighting. Now, these plants prefer bright indirect light. You can put them in lower light settings. However, if they don't have enough light, then they can become leggy. And if you have a variegated variety, then they will lose their variegation if they don't have enough light. So they can tolerate low light, but bright indirect light is going to be their sweet spot. And just make sure there's going to be no direct sunlight on your leaves, because it can burn the foliage. And then just make sure you're keeping them away from drafts and air vents. And if you have it next to a window, don't allow it to touch the window pane, because depending on the temperature outside, it'll either burn or freeze your leaves. Now, due to its invasive nature, it can thrive in any kind of soil that you put it in, and you can also have it in a soilless medium if you prefer to do that as well. So for watering, it can tolerate both moist and dry soil. However, they like to be more towards the dry side, but make sure you just keep it a little balanced. Allow the soil to dry out between waterings, and then you can also just get a mister for the foliage and mist it that way too if you don't want to overwater your plant, because these plants can be prone to root rot. So for temperature and humidity, these plants prefer cooler temperatures. They prefer between 50 to 75 degrees, and they love high humidity. My ivies have thrived since I got the humidifier back in November. They have grown so much since then. They absolutely love it. So just make sure that you are providing your ivies with some kind of humidity, because that's where they'll thrive the most. And also, the lack of humidity can cause spider mites. When it comes to fertilizer, you can do a nitrogen-rich one, because ivies love nitrogen. Or you can do a 20-20-20 mix. However, ivies aren't really too picky when it comes to fertilizer, because since they are an invasive species, they're pretty much going to grow no matter what circumstances they find themselves in. They are pretty forgiving houseplants, especially those of us who tend to be a little bit forgetful, or if you're a first-time plant owner and you want to start with something super duper easy, ivies are a perfect place for you to start, because they're going to grow for you no matter what. As I mentioned before, some pests and diseases that you'll have to worry about are spider mites, aphids, or mealybugs, and that's only if you're not giving your ivy adequate humidity, or you're letting the soil dry out way too much. That's when you're going to experience those pest problems. But other than that, you really shouldn't have a problem with them. And then also, root rot is a real common thing for ivy, because they have shallow roots. So if you are watering it too much and it becomes waterlogged, then you're going to have the root rot problem. But monitor your watering and monitor your humidity, and you really shouldn't have any problems with these plants. Now, when it comes to propagation, just take a part of your plant that's 4 to 5 inches long, and then you'll remove the bottom leaves, stick it in water, and it's going to take around 6 weeks for them to get roots that are long enough for you to either put them in your garden, put them in a container, leave them in water, whatever you prefer. Just be mindful that if you do put these in your garden, they are an invasive species. I've said this so many times already, but they're going to take over whatever area that you put them in. So I would recommend that if you do want them outside, just keep them in the container, because if you plant them in your actual garden, they might get a little out of control if you don't stay on top of it. And then for the last thing is for pruning. These plants can get a little bit leggy if they get too long. I don't think I reached that part yet. No, they're still pretty full all the way down. However, you can tell when they start to get leggy, because it'll just be like one leaf and then just a gap and then another leaf. So if that happens, you can propagate them. Take 4 to 5 inches, stick it in water, and then you can take those pieces and then put them right back in the pot. So this ivy, just because of how it's placed in the windowsill, but I could easily take another piece and fill. You see there's still spots. You can fill it in your pot to make your plant more full. You could do it that way if your plant is getting too long and too leggy. That's it, guys. It was a super quick one, but I absolutely love my ivy. They're probably my favorite. And I do have an ivy wall outside. My whole garage is ivy, and I absolutely love it. It's probably my favorite part of the summertime is my ivy wall coming in. But that's it for this video, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.